Good afternoon, everyone. Nick is back for another cool travel vlog for you. We are outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, once again at one of my favorite locations here. We are visiting Valley Forge National Park today, right outside Philadelphia. King of Prussia is just over there. The significance of Valley Forge goes back to the Revolutionary War. I'm a big history buff. The Revolutionary War is my favorite war of our country's history. And this is where George Washington set up camp in the winter of 1777 and 1778. So the whole park, it's about 7 miles round trip. You can actually drive around the whole park. They have a bunch of great setups here, and we're going to take you through the park today. So the reason why Washington chose this place for his winter encampment was because in the spring and fall of 77, the British took over Philadelphia. So Continental Congress evacuated Philadelphia, moved to York, Pennsylvania, which is west of here, probably about an hour, hour and a half, closer to an hour and a half, 2 hour drive out towards Harrisburg. So Continental Congress evacuated Philadelphia due to the British takeover, and Washington wanted to set up camp here to sort of keep an eye on the British. If you were to drive from here to the city, it's about 40 minutes, I would think. About 40 minutes. So back then on horse, could take a whole day. So close enough, but just far away that the British didn't know they were over here setting up camp. Now, things to remember about wartime back then: in the winter was their off time. The winter was when they would kind of rest, recuperate, train, and prepare for battle for the next spring and summer. So there's a bunch of cool locations here today. We're going to take you on the tour, and I hope you all enjoy. Let's begin. Starting off our tour today, you can get a good view of what is now King of Prussia. That's the Valley Forge Casino right over there. And what the Continental Army would do, especially here, you can get a really good view. We're going to go take a look in this in a bit. But these were called Advance Redoubt. It was almost like defense barricade, where they can, especially here, so Philadelphia is over that way, they can set up on the top of this hill and pretty much look out. We'll get a view over there to see if any of the British were coming here. Protection from attack, it's a good one. Building the redoubt. It's pretty cool. A lot of the stuff here is reconstruction. This might very well be a reconstruction of what one of these would have looked like back in the day, but they have the cannon set up. And here's a great view. Stand here, look down the hill, see if any British are coming. Really cool. Citizens take heed. Continental soldiers looked out for the enemy through these gun ports. As soon as you pull in the park, this is the first stop you see. So let's check out some more cool stuff. So here we are at our next location. These are modern log cabins. They're not the originals. These are rebuilt for the park to give you an idea of what the cabins would have looked like. But back in 1777, Philadelphia was the 4th largest city in America. And when they arrived here in camp, the soldiers immediately began building 2,000 log huts for shelter. So here's a good picture of what that would have looked like here. Cabins are pretty much the same. And what they did back then, they made these parts here just out of clay, and they actually did the same thing, you can see, with these cabins to give you the full effect. And here's Washington keeping his eye on the soldiers as they're building the cabins. But I've been coming here for years, and you could actually, they let you go in these cabins. Now, with the coronavirus this year, the park was closed pretty much till late July or August. And the park just opened up, you know, in the late summer. So you could actually go in these huts. I've been in them plenty of times. It's really cool to see, but thanks to the virus, all the cabins have locks on them. So we're not gonna be able to see the inside today, but it was pretty harsh. You could see when we go, if you were able to go in, they had like bunk beds made out of just wood. And like I said, they spent the winter here. So I would imagine these were very cold back in 1777 in the winter. But this gives you a cool idea of what these 20,000 some cabins looked like. Now we're gonna head to our next spot, which is straight ahead. So where we are right now, this was the heart of the camp at Valley Forge. There was plenty of activity that went on here. All of the training sessions mainly took place here, obviously, you know, throughout Valley Forge Park, but this was really the heart of the camp. Can only imagine how many of these log cabins were set up out here. Gun training, everything, all set up right here. It's crazy to think too, George Washington walked these grounds. And have some cool facts for you that we'll check out right over here. So I would think the main significance of the winter at Valley Forge was that this is where the Continental Army really transformed from an amateur army with, you know, soldiers who have never held a gun before into, you know, a true powerhouse of an American army. And a lot of that had to do thanks to, I believe his name was General von Steuben. He's from Europe, and he came over and really helped Washington train the soldiers more, to make them more professional. He had a lot of background in the 7 Years' War, and he really trained the American soldiers how to properly fight, use the bayonets, proper warfare, all the above. And here's a good depiction. That's supposed to be von Steuben right there, training the soldiers here at Valley Forge. Yep. As you can see, Valley Forge in the fall is one of the most beautiful parks in Pennsylvania. So beautiful that my wife and I 2 or 3 years ago had our engagement photos here. We took a couple of photos actually right down there in the grass, and they came out really well. I'll throw a picture in here. So here we are, not even a mile down the road. Better shot that you can see of the heart of the camp. And like I said, this is where tons of log cabins, just like that, are set up and really beautiful in the fall. Now, there's it's been said a lot that the winter at Valley Forge was the coldest of the American Revolutionary War, and that is not true. It may have been the second coldest, but there was another winter that they had, I believe it was the winter after actually, that was the coldest. I'm not sure where they were, but they came into camp in December with 12,000 men, and by the spring there was only 6,000 of those men that lived. The other 6 died from illnesses, cold weather, diseases, and then there was also a few that their enlistments ended and they went home to their family. But great shot of the heart of the camp right here. Next, we're gonna go to Washington's Monument, which is a really cool site right up the road. And right up the hill is Washington's Monument. To the officers and private soldiers of the Continental Army, December 1977 to June 1778. I'm illegally parked here. So we'll go over on the other side and get a better view of this for you. The National Memorial Arch at Valley Forge, also known as Washington's Monument, was authorized by Congress in 1910 as a tribute to George Washington and his army who endured the winter encampment. It's a better view. Oh, that's cool with the flag right there. There's a cool documentary on the American Revolution on History Channel in George Washington voice. Naked and starving as they are, we cannot enough admire the incomparable patience and fidelity of the soldiery. My impression of George Washington. Now my wife and I were actually here 2 weekends ago. It was a Sunday, and this place gets so packed on a beautiful weekend that I tried to vlog and it just wasn't happening. So thankfully today it's a Monday, it's cold and it's rainy in October and there's really no one here. So many people have picnics and walk their dogs and play football out here, but you can imagine, I mean, this is also very flat land that training went on here. Tents, cabins, everything. I had to stop because I actually found a log cabin. Ooh, 2 of them that are not locked up. So now we can get a look inside what the average soldier slept in. Wow. It smells really cool. So these are the bunk beds that I was talking about earlier, just made out of wood. They'd have a little fireplace in there. But wow, can you imagine sleeping on that? Dang. And it's cold outside and it's a little bit warmer in here, but not really. It is beyond description to conceive what the men suffer. And I know from watching so many documentaries on this, not only did they suffer from the colds and sickness and all that, but they didn't really have any food. There was videos that they said they would eat their own shoes because the men were starving and they couldn't get any food, any help from Congress or anything. So just imagine, not only are you cold and you have frostbite and you're sick, but you also have no food. Had to be tough. We have arrived at probably the coolest part of this tour, Washington's headquarters. We're gonna see the original building where Washington slept, planned, everything. All his men, not all of his men, about 25 men stayed there with him, and someone very cool who most of you will know today as well. Here's a cool map. Washington's headquarters area. You are here. So pretty much the complete opposite side of where we started. We started down here and we're pretty much at the complete opposite side of the park. The cool thing, you can drive around the entire park. Like I said, it's 7 or 8 miles if you were to walk it, but my wife and I walked half of it one time and was pretty dead after. But let's go check out Washington's headquarters. It is a bit of a hike to get down here. Cars parked all the way up there, but there's a really cool old train station. This was not here, obviously, during the American Revolution, but it looks like it's from the 1900s, early 1900s. I don't know, doubt it operates anymore, but this is the original village of Valley Forge. So once again, all these buildings, you can see the one right there, And over here, these are all original homes that were here during the American Revolution. And Washington probably knocked on the door of whoever lived here at the time, said, hey, we need to use this as our headquarters. Do you mind vacating the premises for a few months? So let's go check it out. And right there, ladies and gentlemen, Washington's headquarters. It's crazy because I read that 25 to 30 of his, generals and men would sleep in here with him. It's a really tiny house. You could actually tour this, but obviously with the coronavirus going on, they're not doing any more tours. But somebody else that's really cool that stayed here with him that you all ought to know by now from the famous Broadway play is Alexander Hamilton. Stayed in here with him in that winter. Just imagine George Washington going up these steps right into the door. Same building. Now the inside I know is reconstructed. General Washington, Virginia. All the furniture is new and that, but made to look like back in the day. I don't know if you could see anything in there or not. But this is the original Washington headquarters. Right by the train station. Here's the back of the house. Like I said, it's really tiny to have 25 to 30 men sleep in here. And he had his office. Of course, the beds. Probably, I would assume 4 or 5 men shared a room. But George Washington walked these grounds. Slept in this house during the winter encampment, winter 77 to 78, the American Revolutionary War. We're going to check out one more spot on our tour today. So let's go. Well, we have made it to the final stop on our tour of Valley Forge National Historical Park today. And the final stop is Washington's Memorial Chapel. That's nice. They named a church after him. This is a beautiful church. Looks very old, but beautiful. There's weddings that happen here. Obviously you can attend church every day. You have to wear a mask though, of course. But what's significant to me, as well as my wife here, during our engagement photos that I said earlier we got here, we actually took a bunch of photos in here. I'll post 2 of them in this video so you could see just the beauty of it. But really cool. Beautiful place. Very nice. Well, that wraps it up for our tour today of Valley Forge National Historical Park, Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia. Hope you all enjoyed another travel vlog. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below. And I guess we'll see you all next time on another travel vlog. I highly recommend, if you're in the Philadelphia area, come on out. It's great. There's so many walking trails. You can literally park your car at any point at the park. Bike, you can rent bikes, do a full bike ride here, walk, have a picnic, any of the above. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Signing off here from Valley Forge. Take care, guys.